So much of our lives are online these days, from photos and social media profiles to banking and email accounts. But do you have a plan to protect that information if a hacker strikes? I spoke with local attorney Phil Ruce about what to do before the unexpected happens. Phil Ruce, thank you so much for having some time to talk with us about protecting all aspects of our life when it comes to our digital footprint. We'll start with kind of keeping things general. What steps can people take right now to protect their digital accounts?
Thanks, Jeff. It's great to be here tonight. There's three big steps we oftentimes pretty much always talk to our clients about when it comes to their digital estate plan. And the first one is going to be collecting or inventorying their passwords. Step two is going to be appointing a digital executor or personal representative. It's a kind of a switching title depending on the situation. And lastly, make sure you work with a professional. When we talk about collecting or inventorying our passwords, think of all the stuff that you have out there. Think of these email accounts. Think of maybe someone has digital videos and digital family photos on some backup or digital backup or cloud somewhere. Someone's going to want to be able to download those things. And we need to make sure that we're keeping track of how to get into those accounts. Not only that, we've got issues with fraud and some other things too, but we want to make sure that we actually have a cheat sheet. Some people have a notebook, some people have their spreadsheet, whatever it is. There's also a number of online password programs. A couple that I see regularly are LastPass, we see Dashlane, a couple others are out there. And what these are going to do is automatically for you during life, this has nothing to do with estate planning, but they're going to track your passwords for you, give you one master password. And then if something happens to me, I can have a point person who is going to be able to access those. And that person is typically our digital executor, step number two. Executor is a formal term for someone who's appointed, or personal representative for somebody who's appointed by the court to handle an estate. So oftentimes that's traditional estate planning, property, your house, your money, et cetera. But this can be a lot of work, this sort of digital world. So oftentimes it's nice to be able to appoint a point person to do this. Our team at Stonehenge Law Office does provide the proper authorizations for this person to be able to act. But even if you didn't do that, Minnesota does have laws on the books that allow the executor of your estate, your personal representative, your court appointee, to be able to access these things.
And that's what you've been weaving through, all those ways of protecting our digital footprint is digital estate planning. Some people have a will, but there's another aspect of protecting the things that we own. So what is digital estate planning?
When we talk about traditional estate planning, what we're talking about is, again, my house, my heirlooms, money, investments, brokerage accounts, whatever it is. How do we coordinate those things? And what we like to say is, how do we get the right things to the right people, the right time, the right way? When it comes to your digital life, we've got some added complications. We not only have these passwords, these encryption, certain kinds of encryption, we have dual factor authentication, where they send you that one-time passcode. And how do they send that to you? They send it to you over your cell phone, or they send it to you over an email address. Sure, it would be nice if someone could access those things to make that easier. Another aspect that we have when it comes to estate planning is if we don't do this properly, there can actually be some criminal penalties, and we've got to be very careful with that.
So, and maybe this rolls into the next question here is, why does digital estate planning matter?
There's two big problems that we run into. The first one is fraud. This is an AARP statistic, but it's something like 2.5 million people who had passed away, had their information used last year for fraudulent purposes. So we certainly have this fraudulent aspect. We have to get someone in who can shut down email accounts. Who is it that can shut down credit cards? Not only do we have the fraudulent problem, we also have the issue of just this practical thing. We've got all these automated payments that are coming out of bank accounts. Can someone monitor my bank account so that I know, or so that I can feel secure that when I'm gone, these automatic payments are going to be stopped? Think of, for example, if the wrong person got a hold of one of my credit cards and they continued to use it, and of course I've got this auto debit to pay this thing off every month. The heirs to my estate would be very disappointed if they found that this money was disappearing like that.
Well, Phil, I appreciate you taking some of our questions and helping the next generation learn how to prepare for the future and protect what is theirs with so many of us living in this digital world. Thank you again for your time.
That's right. Thank you, Jeff.